Welcome to the Business Performance Podcast, where we feature expert thought leaders and cover their best strategies, stories, and advice that you can use to successfully mature your own business performance. Now, here is your host, business coach Henry Schneider.
Hello, everyone. This is Henry Schneider with the Business Performance Podcast, and today it's my pleasure to speak with Jessica Yarbrough, who's a business growth consultant and a sales and marketing strategist. So welcome to the podcast, Jessica.
Thanks for having me, Henry.
Okay, so what I always start out with my guests, I like to have them to put things into context. So could you tell us a little bit about your company, your customers, and the types of products and services that you provide?
Yeah, so I am a consulting and training company, and essentially what we do is we help scale other coaching and consulting companies. We help them with everything from their offer to their marketing to sales systems and ultimately delivery to take them to seven figures.
Okay. So what do you provide all that other ancillary help, or do you just teach them what they need to do and they have to go off and do it themselves?
Yeah, so we actually provide them with as close to what you could call a business in a box as possible. Like we give them the templates, the tools, the resources. I literally give them everything that I create in my business, things that we know are proven, that convert across industries or across niches within the coaching and consulting world, and they're able to plug their products and services into those frameworks.
Okay. All right. So now, since we've been under lockdown now for several months, how is business different for you now than it was like 9 months, 12 months ago?
Well, we're in a high growth stage right now in my business. It's really booming, as we were chatting about before our call. Now, I will say in full transparency, like we didn't know what was happening there in April and May. Those are typically times when I run live events. They're big enrollment periods for me. They're big cash injections times, and those were canceled this year. So there was a few months of uncertainty, but what we found is that people took a deep breath. They realized, they still have to move the needle forward. It's still necessary to invest. People started spending money again. And like I said, we're growing by leaps and bounds right now. And we're seeing that across the board with my clients as well.
So what is it done in terms of your delivery of your services? How has that changed?
Nothing has changed. In fact, what you did see is a lot of entrepreneurs jump off and create like $97 products and we've stayed true to our core message and our core value and our core program. I'm a big fan of ditching the shiny object syndrome. I don't believe in having a suite of 7, 10, 12 different products. With singular focus and clarity, you can move mountains. And so we've stayed true, and this is what we teach our clients, to build something that is actually predictable, profitable, and scalable.
Okay. So what's interesting, I watched some of your testimonials, and I guess the one that sticks out in my mind is there was a man talking about, he got away from, billing by the hour. So
Yeah.
what is he actually selling then, or marketing?
Yeah, so we don't promote, at least my methodology, and I've done all these things, so it's nothing that I can't do. It's like not what we focus on. We don't promote courses or $27 a month membership sites or billing. When you're billing by the hour, you're going to hit a natural ceiling because there's only so many hours in a day. And as any business owner knows, there's much more to running a business than just delivering the coaching. So what we help our clients build are transformational coaching and training programs. So in this particular case, John Collins, who was billing by the hour, he works with high stakes leaders, meaning like airport authorities, attorneys. He's background in some forensic. His clients are people like the FBI, things like that. He went from just billing by the hour to actually selling an outcome-based program where he can go into a company, transform their leadership from the inside out. There's specific outcomes over a time period, and there's a specific price associated with that.
Oh, okay.
So there's no timekeeping, billing back and forth. It's a commitment that delivers powerful result. So we do that with our clients, whether they're leadership or I've got a nurse educator. She goes into senior living center. She charges them 6 figures to train them on dementia care. Whether it's a training, education, or a coaching program, we're high value transformational experiences.
Okay, so it's like it's one price for a bunch of services, then fixed fee. Then you okay.
Exactly. It's you're taking them through.
Okay. So how does that work now, being able to deliver this virtually? Can they do that?
Yeah, everything we teach is the ability to deliver it virtually. In fact, this is why I built my business. I've lived in 4 different countries, and I always wanted to have something that allowed me to have the laptop lifestyle. Though let's face it, nobody's on a computer at the beach. It's not comfortable. We're not doing that. You do want to have the ability to take the calls anywhere. And so a brick and mortar was never aligned with what I wanted, nor did I want to be committed to just one location. You might move. And so everything we teach is how to build an online model. We first dial in the online before we ever offline an event. And that's because you've got the following, then you've got the ability to fill up your events.
Okay.
And so I work with clients in Canada, Australia, Switzerland, Germany, UK, you name it, and we teach our clients the same.
So what do you do about teaching? I mean, do you spend time teaching and coaching people how to interact on Zoom or go to meeting with this one-on-one videos?
Not so much, because people already know by this point. We're specifically helping people scale up. So there is some people who are transitioning from just in person to a virtual, but everybody's moved on, and absolutely we teach them how to hold that container of a powerful coaching call and get the point across and get the questions answered.
Okay. All right. So one question I always ask everybody is about, how do you define the word quality? Because quality is a very nice word, but it's a big, vague, all-encompassing term. So what does quality mean to you, Jessica Yarbrough, and maybe then also what does it mean to your clients?
Yeah, I mean, quality to me is all about the experience and the feeling that you get. When you're not selling a tangible product that you can feel, that you can pick up, you need to mirror that experience in the services that you create, and you can do that. And so we talk a lot about this in my program. Do you want to be positioned as the used car, or do you want to be positioned and have the feeling of luxury, of a nice vehicle? And so we want to mirror those experiences in everything that we do, from not just the client perspective, but from the awareness, from the outreach perspective of when we're starting to first engage with potential clients.
Okay. So then from the flip side, what does it mean to your clients? What do they think about the word quality?
The word quality is best of the best, like getting the results promised, getting what I asked for, getting what I paid for, getting 10 times the value of what I paid for it. That would be from a quality of perspective of a service. Having something that you feel so good about that you're happy to tell your family and friends about it, and become that referral partner.
Okay, great. All right, now, what are 1 or 2 of the biggest myths or misconceptions about trying to grow your business and as a consultant?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of them. One would be I talk about a lot of different myths, but one of the ones would be, all I need is a webinar and Facebook ads, and you see these churn and burn kind of programs teaching that. And the reality is, if you don't have a strong, solid foundation with your offer, meaning the who, the what, the how, the why, all the other tools and tricks, they don't work. The other thing is, for the vast majority of my clients, their market is on LinkedIn. So they're not going to find you on Facebook, and they don't want to watch your webinar. When you're trying to target a CEO of a company that's busy, that's running a 4 million, 7, 10 plus $1 million company, the last thing they want to do is watch a webinar. They want to get on the phone with someone that can help them. Money is not the issue. They want to save time. And if you can save time and have a solution for them, then they're willing to buy from you. So that would be one. The other one is, I'm just going to create a course and have passive income and retire on a beach.
Oh, that's right.
The courses have an 85% attrition rate. That means the majority of them are just sitting on someone's desktop and collecting dust. And so courses, number one, they don't create the transformation that any good coach or consultant wants, because no one completes them. The transformation's not in the information, it's what you do with that information. So if you
Right.
take the impact, the desire to make an impact, courses aren't going to do that. If you take the money side of it, it's not that just you create a course and boom, it's monetized. There's so much more sophisticated digital marketing know-how that has to happen, from landing pages to the right ads, to the right copy, to email sequences, and everything. And what happens is people have this dream, they're sold into the get rich on a money course program. They spend 3 months and $20,000-$30,000 launching it, dump a bunch of money in ads, and then it falls flat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't have an audience. You know, you don't have an audience of people who are willing to buy from you. Why do that? Bypass all of that. Go right and sell transformational coaching or consulting. Sell it for $25,000, sell it for $30,000, and you don't even have to do any of that other things. And guess what? Your people are going to show up. They paid you a lot of money. You better bet they're going to show up and do the work, because they want to see their return.
Right.
Now you've got an incredible case study. Now you've not only had the money, but you have the impact that you desire to make in the world.
Yeah. So the hard part is getting the attention of those senior level executives to want to talk to you.
If that is your market, because, you know, attention is the new currency.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of what we teach, whether it's a 7 million, you know, CEO of a $7 million company, or whether maybe it's just a, you know, an individual that you're trying to target, that, you know, it's not even, it's B2C. Regardless, you've got to be able to grab their attention. You've got to be able to enter the conversation happening in their mind.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be able to create a sense of relevancy and intimacy with your ideal client if they're ever going to pay attention to you.
Okay. So what's the number one biggest challenge that you are currently facing with business performance?
Oh, business performance would be that next strategic hire. You know, right now, like I said, the demand for my services is very high right now. And I'm very, I care a lot about quality. So it's, you know, having the time to find the right person and train them, which I think if I look across the board at all of my friends, no matter what industry, number one problem is a people problem.
Yeah.
Right. It's finding the right people, training them, keeping them engaged and happy and enrolled in your vision. So I think it's a common problem for any company.
I think it's even probably exacerbated now with having a remote workforce, because you never get to see them in person. It's only like this where you see a photograph of them. So you really don't have that chance really to bond very well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, yeah, I don't feel alone in that process, but we're working through it.
Okay. So what are some of the common fears that your clients have about trying to overcome the challenges of growing their business as a consultant?
Oh, it's many. I mean, there's different levels that people come at. Some people come with a mindset around money, which is associated twofold, either with their own self-worth and their ability to charge more, which we can nip that in the bud very quickly. Or if it's a growth around investing. And if you're not willing to invest, I cannot help you, because, you know, those that are willing to invest and are the ones that are going to have success. If you're not if you don't have that growth mindset, then I can't help you. The other one, fear is, you know, someone else can't do this better than me. So I got to keep micromanaging, and it's that fear of letting go of some sense of power and control. But most of the time, when a CEO is making $350,000, $500,000, they're the biggest bottleneck. And so I've got to get you out of your own way and get you into three roles. One, driving vision of the company. Two, being the coach, the trainer. You've still got to do that. And number three, being the PR spokesperson, the guest podcast, the message behind the video or the live stream. We've got to get the right butts and right seats and the systems in place to free up your time from doing all the other tasks.
So what do you do to get people past those fears? How do you convince them that they need to do that so then they can see the results?
Well, if they don't take my advice immediately, they come to their own conclusion pretty. You know, I just had this conversation with one of my clients who was like feeling burnout, and I said, circle back to the same thing. You know, why are you doing all of these things? It's very clear who you need to hire. This is we need to get this person in place. So most of the time when people are aware of their problems, they just don't know how to go about and in what order to do things. And we focus, in order that makes the most sense for them to execute. So it's not that they're not willing, it's just that they don't know how. And if they have someone to guide them, it makes the process that much easier.
Okay. All right. So Jessica, from your perspective, what are the perceived obstacles that you see that might be preventing you from achieving the success that you're trying to achieve?
My own perceived obstacles. Yeah, I think really it's just getting that next hire in place for me right now. Have really solid systems built, great case studies and results. So it would just be like that next year.
Okay. All right. So can you share a story of how you helped one of your clients overcome the challenges and become successful?
Yeah, I would definitely say one of my clients to me at $350,000 a year. She was capped there for several years. She couldn't figure out, and she tried all the different things on how to grow it. The problem was she was at capacity time-wise. She didn't want to work more. She wanted to actually work less and make more. And so we did an overhaul of really streamlined her offers into 2 from 7, raised her prices across the board, which actually eliminated a lot of clients. So she got got rid of certain clients, but it allowed her to actually pull in higher value clients that she really wanted to work with. And then we streamlined her marketing. At the time, she also had a crisis. It's like everything hit at once, right? She had her key person left. Her system was hacked. Her internal system. So she had all of this hit at once and COVID. And her particular industry that was hit very, very hard, not the coaching in the industry she served. So she had everything thrown at her. We're September now. We will have doubled her revenue despite all of those challenges come the end of October. So taking her from 350 to really over 700,000, which is pretty spectacular given everything that happened. And I know that had COVID not happened, pushed her to 7 figures this year. There was a lot involved with that, but it was a restructuring of her business from the inside out.
Okay, so if you could distill that down into like 25 words or less, what would be the moral of the story?
Oh, I mean, the moral of the story is, if you're stagnant, you've got to get it out of your own way, and you need to make some hard decisions around your offer, people, and processes in order to actually go to that next level of growth.
Okay. All right. So now, when it comes to quality and helping your clients become successful, what are some of the common pitfalls or mistakes that you try to coach them around so they don't fall into those things?
I would say negotiating on their prices, anything like that. Or sometimes you'll see this happen a lot with entrepreneurs where they don't want to quote unquote leave money on the table. So they start to spin off and offer enough, start to dilute with the core of what they do. And I have to pull people back from and say, listen, yes, you could do that, but there is a time and energy cost associated with that. And it also splits your focus. And again, we talk about attention is the new currency. It's the same in your own business. Constantly pulling my clients to stay focused on one core offer, one core method, one core everything. Get rid of 20 funnels, have the one core, because we can literally move mountains if we have singularity in our focus, on our focus in not only the message, but the method, the delivery, the client, like everything. It's just, we can grow by leaps and bounds. One of the pitfalls, I'm constantly pulling people away from that ledge so they don't fall into that pit.
Well, one of the things I've seen too in the past is that people will tend to cut their prices down just to bring clients in, and that just seems counterproductive, because now you're cutting way into your bottom line, but you're trying to make it up on volume.
It's a race to the bottom. So we actually spin that. First of all, I never want my clients to go backwards. We want to go forwards. We want to raise the prices or go up the value ladder. Go for bigger, go for the whale if you want, the whale package. The other thing is I really focus on building a quality over quantity business. We're talking high ticket, 30,000, 50,000, six figure. You don't need 100 of those.
Mhm.
So you do simple math and you're going to hit your income goals pretty quickly. Not only that, but you'll be able to serve these clients at a deeper level, and you'll still have a lot more freedom of time versus trying to serve 100 clients. I mean, that's becomes a logistical nightmare, and you need a bigger workforce in order to deliver to that many people.
Okay, so what advice then do you give to your clients? I mean, to get them over, to help them avoid these mistakes. I mean, how do you convince them what to do?
Well, I try not to do any kind of convincing. I mean, by the
Mm,
time someone comes to me, there's a level of awareness of the pain that they're
mm,
in, and they're pretty clear that, they like what I have to say and
mm.
are open to have a call about my solution is. We have a very clear methodology that's proven. It's step by step of what we need to put in place in order to scale up. So I continue to bring people back to the method, and getting these pieces dialed in, because we know when they're dialed in, you're going to have the impact, the money, the freedom, the scalability in your company.
Okay. All right. So Jessica, before we began, when we were chatting at the beginning, you related that you've got quite an interesting backstory. So could
Yeah.
you help to share with our listeners here what defining moment occurred in your life that got you to become this business growth consultant?
Yeah, I mean, I think I had many different defining moments in my life, but essentially, I will say that I started working very young. My mom used to joke and said I had that ability to take something and take nothing and turn it into something. And so I would go and I would take a managerial role, and I would always just find a way to just make them a lot of money, or find money or improve what they were doing.
Mm,
So I managed multiple companies doing that, and I ended up building a startup here in San Diego. It was my dream. We built it from literally, we had desk and no computers day one.
mm,
So it was a very cool on the ground experience that I would say was a boot camp for building my own
mm,
business
mm,
many years later. But I built that really fast. And all in all, it led me to burnout. I mean, I was on the verge of a nervous breakdown at that point because I was pushing so hard. And I
mm,
think I was just someone in life that was always trying to achieve. So I just did it for such a young age. It was all I
mm,
ever knew. And it led to an awakening that, you know what, I'm going to take this experience. I'm going to walk away from the company that I built that was my dream. I'm going to give up everything, including my shares. It's a clean cut. And I want to explore this deeper calling that I had within, just understanding who I am, understanding the world and life. And I took a 4-year journey of self-development and had crazy adventures, from, becoming a yoga teacher to backpacking through Southeast Asia to, staying in Buddhist monasteries
mm.
to
Yeah.
living in the jungles of Costa Rica. And what it allowed, a deeper sense of knowing and understanding of the world, a great sense of empathy with my fellow human beings, an understanding of the kind of quality of life I wanted to live. And I thought that was it for me. I was like, oh, I'm just going to be this spiritual wanderer.
Mm,
And ultimately, I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter, who's now 6 years old. I had my second come to Jesus moment where I said, hey, I got to figure things out. I can't be a wanderer. I really want to build something I can be proud of. I want to build something I can give to her.
mm,
I want to show her that, you know what, you don't even have to take a job where you're grinding hours a day and taking your measly 2 weeks vacation. I want to show her that I literally can build a company and, run it from Greece, run it from Portugal. And I've done all of that.
mm,
And so that was the pivotal moment where I said, I'm going to take the harder path. I'm pregnant. I've got a baby on the way. I'm not going to go get a marketing job because I'm unemployable. I'm not going to go work for someone
mm.
again. I'm going to play the long game and raise a newborn on my own, go on the hardest journey of my life. And I'm going to hold that vision and build what I really want. And I did it. Like I said, it wasn't easy. It wasn't fun or sexy all the time. It was literally the hardest thing I've ever done, but I'm on the other side of it. And I have so much appreciation for entrepreneurs, especially that are parents, on that journey. You got to walk through the fire to guide others. And that's exactly what I did.
Sure. Okay, so now, kind of from a different perspective, but sort of similar, can you share an experience you had growing up that still influences how you approach business today?
I would definitely say a couple of things. Integrity, doing what's right. My parents raised me well. I have strong work ethic around following through on commitments and just doing what's right, and I think that's a pitfall that you see a lot of entrepreneurs go into. They kind of sell their soul or go down the wrong path just to make a buck.
Mm,
It's not worth it. Stay in integrity. You might not be the richest person, but you'll be able to sleep well at night. And I
mm.
believe if you are in integrity, that you still can get there. And like I said, you'll feel better about it and leave this world with a lot of good karma.
Okay, so building on that, what does success look like now for Jessica Yarbrough?
Success is, just defining my own schedule. When COVID's not happening, we're avid travelers. My daughter and I joke that she's the most well-traveled 6-year-old in the world.
Mhm,
So it's taking those long vacations. It's being able to power down. It's being able to take care of my body,
mhm.
mind and spirit. It's having, the resources to do it and the support uh, to really do what I love and also live a life that I love.
Okay. All right. So we kind of were talking about this a little bit at the beginning about COVID, but everything's changed. It's basically fruit basket turnover here in terms of business. So, what have you seen in terms of technology hits that you've encountered since we've been in this working from home remotely?
Yeah, I don't really see any shift because we were set up for success and already having all of my systems in place. So the
Mm,
technology is flowing. The only difference is maybe Zoom having less bandwidth because so
mm,
many people are using
yeah.
it. But for the most part, technology hasn't been any barrier whatsoever.
Okay. And now, so how many people do you have in your company, employees at this point?
Yeah, so I have my executive assistant. I have a video production team that comes out and runs my 6 events a
Mm,
year when I can have them all.
mm,
I also have a VA that does graphic design, video editing, and then I have an ops person who does interim ops consulting for us.
okay. So are
I
they kind
also
of
have 2 assistant coaches
okay?
that support my clients.
So are they kind of just spread around all over the place, or are they all out in San Diego, or what?
No, there's the only person who is local is my executive assistant and one of my assistant coaches, and that was something I really wanted. I wanted to have that in person
Hmm.
for my key person, but we live in a digital world, so I've got a lot of my team is actually in
Mm.
Phoenix, Arizona. So
So how what are you seeing in terms of people being fully productive? How are you staying on top of to make certain that they're actually doing everything that they're supposed to do since you're not physically present?
yeah, do you mean my team or my clients?
Your team.
Yeah, so we obviously, have systems in place where, we use Asana to project manage everything. We have our meetings to make sure things are getting ticked off or checked off the box, and then we're always adjusting based on priorities. I mean, new projects come. There's always new projects and new priorities, and there's also new fires to put out.
Yeah.
So it's just an evolving process of communication and managing the process well.
Okay. So have you, I guess so you're saying now your demand is up. So how are you able to balance your portfolio of the work with this new environment we've got?
Yeah, so we have built a streamlined, scalable process. I know how many one-on-one clients, and I'm, quick can cap out of that pretty quickly. So
Mm-hmm.
everyone else goes into my group offerings, which are very streamlined,
Mm-hmm.
and we can onboard. I'd say 2 to 3 of those people per week.
Oh, okay. All right. So what are your top three business concerns the things that keep you up at night?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's really any. I don't know if I have any business concerns right now. I'm onboarding a new person starting in October. I have a retreat happening in 2 weeks. So it's more just addressing immediate things. And I've got a daughter who started school. And so I would say it's more just about balancing life and business for me right now than any specific business challenges that I have.
So yes, let's just ask, explore a little further. So your daughter, is she starting kindergarten at this point?
Yep. Yeah.
So,
Kindergarten.
so how are you able to kind of balance that? Because they're not used to sitting in front of a TV and interacting with somebody. They like to play. So
Yeah. Well, so we have wonderful public schools here that are closed because of COVID, and they went virtual. So I actually placed her in a private school that is still in person. So she's able to have that interaction in a group setting.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, I know, because I got several grandchildren that are doing that, and like they're just bored to death. They want to play, so I'm tired of school.
Oh, it's a terrible thing, and I had many friends going through it. In fact, she was in TK. It's called Transitional Kindergarten. We have it here in California, an actual school earlier this year. So we went through the COVID iPad trying to learn, and at the time I had a live-in nanny, and I actually forego the live-in nanny to put her in private school because I valued her education and that in-person element. It's great that she had someone to help facilitate it, but what she was missing was the human interaction of other, 5 and 6-year-olds. And I saw a complete shift in her personality, not just hers, but all of our friends. Children were going through the same thing because they need that emotional connection of other children. They learn from other children, not just a teacher or a computer.
Yeah,
right?
Especially at that age, because that's at the age when you really start socializing and learning to build your network of people.
Oh, and she's happy and she's thriving, and I'm so happy that I found a great school and that there is an option open for her right now.
Okay, so here's a good, interesting question. If you had to start everything over from scratch today, what would you continue doing the same, and what would you do differently?
I think from the beginning, I would focus more on building my audience. I think a lot of people don't focus enough on that. So building the right audience of people. I would also do differently. I would focus on the scaling aspect. When I first started, I was working with beginners and I wouldn't start there. I would go right for established companies. So for anybody listening, it's much easier to go into something established. It's also much easier when people already have the revenue generating to pay for your services. So those are one tidbit of advice I would say going forward to do.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I talked to other entrepreneurs, they said that, well, I wish I had engaged a marketing person really early on.
Sure. Yeah, I would say I wish I had hired a coach sooner. I definitely, struggled that first year or two. And it was a friend of mine who was just like, Jessica, I love you. She was a fellow entrepreneur, but you need a coach. You need to pay someone who can get in there. And I did. And I saw a huge return. And I've had some kind of business consultant person in the different areas that I need growth in since then. And it's powerful. They really can collapse time for you. And I believe that you should always be, sharpening your edge. And, it's key.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, you think about even like Michael Jordan still needed a coach, even though he's at the top of his game.
Yeah, and also a coach is like, yes, they're showing you strategy, but let's be honest, they're also coaching you out of your, off your BS, your story about why you can't do something. And so no matter who, it's kind of like, wait a minute, let me hear what you're really saying there. No, go do this. Don't give me that. So we need accountability. We need a swift kick in the butt behind sometimes. Right. And we need somebody to say, listen, you're self-sabotaging. This is what you say you wanted, right? So go do it. I don't want to hear any excuses. And that could be around their health. It could be around their business. It could be around anything.
Okay. Well, Jessica, we're going to run out of time here pretty soon, but it's been fascinating talking with you. So how can people get in touch with you to learn more?
Yeah, so find me at jessicayarbrough.com. You can also download my case study on how we took my a new consultant from 0 to $500,000 in 10 months. It's right on my website. Or find me on LinkedIn. Let me know you heard me on Henry's show so that I'm sure to accept your connection request and follow me there. I'm active every day, giving value.
Okay, great. So you're a fantastic storyteller, Jessica. I really enjoyed speaking with you tonight. So thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Business Performance Podcast with your business coach, Henry Schneider. For more episodes and business strategies, please visit welcome.ppqc.net/blog. That's www.welcome.ppqc.net/blog. And remember to subscribe so you can get the latest episodes. Thank you.